Welcome to the INA August 2020 Town Hall on Zoom, which is, this is like, I think our third try at this sort of format, moving away from the Facebook group or the Facebook page, which was nice for a time, but it's nice to be able to see faces and hear voices and talk a little bit more. But so if you don't know me, my name is Marcia Hall. I'm the INA Executive Director. I'm really happy to be here sort of moderating this. We're going to have a couple of people talk. I'll introduce you to them in just a second, but then we're just going to discuss things today. Most of today is just about talking about maybe some current events, INA events happening, if you guys have questions on that. But I want to remind everybody that this is being recorded. So if you, want to talk and that kind of stuff, just be aware and remember that that it is being recorded and it will be made available to people on YouTube afterwards. So just be aware of that. If there are questions that you guys have that you don't want to ask in a public way like that, you're welcome to email us at memberservices@NANI.org and we'll answer those questions for you right away. So reminder, please stay muted if you're not talking, especially if you have a lot of background noise. We're just trying to keep that to a minimum. If you have a question and you want to, you can raise your hand if that's the way that you're comfortable. You can actually raise your physical hand if I can see you, or there's a button on Zoom at the bottom that allows you to do that. You can also use the chat bar to communicate with us if that's what you want to do. Some of you might be on the phone though, and you don't have those, so just go ahead and unmute yourself when you want to say something. So we're going to, instead of having everybody introduce themselves right now, because we're going to have people trickle in and sometimes it gets confusing, we're going to actually ask you if you have something to say to introduce yourself at that time. Just tell us who you are, what you do in the industry, and if there's anything else that you want to share with us, but just give us a little quick update of who you are. So before we talk to, I wanted to introduce you to our two guests of honor today. We're going to have, just as discussed in the last town hall, we're going to have one of our board members actually highlighted each time we have a town hall. And then we're also going to talk to a international, meaning outside of the US, individual within the industry to they'll share some of the insight from the industry from their perspective, tell us a little bit about who they are, and in this case, tell us about the group that they lead. Tiffany Martinson is our board of directors highlight today. You want to say hi, Tiffany, real quick? And then Kelly, you're going to have to tell me how to say your last name. I should have asked you, is it Korjensen?
Kostians, but it's too difficult, so that's why I made it short.
It's definitely too difficult for me. It shouldn't be too difficult for me, but
for everybody in the world, but to be Dutch, no worries.
Awesome. Well, we're going to hear from them in a little bit, but before we do that, I just want to highlight some of the things that we've got going on for INA in the next couple weeks. This Saturday, August 29th, we have a diversity webinar on the importance of selecting culturally responsive literature for children. And then in September is a big month for us because of course it's National Nanny Recognition Week. So we'll be having another webinar on Wednesday, September 9th on consent in the classroom. And then we have another webinar. I'm trying to figure out where it is. Actually that Saturday, the 12th, will be a professional webinar on working with special needs. So those are our webinars. And then on Saturday, September 19th, we're going to have our service award pin announcement video. So everybody that applied for their service award pin over the last few months will be honored on that day. And then the following Saturday, we're hoping to have our ambassador announcement video. So those are our new ambassadors. So we got a lot going on in the next couple of weeks, and keep posted on our social media and check your emails, that kind of stuff. If you don't get emails from us, you can always email us at memberservices@nani.org to be put on that list. So yeah, anyways, well, I am going to turn it over then to Tiffany Martinson. she is on the board of directors. She's new this year. She's just elected and appointed, and she is going to share a little bit about who she is, what she does, and I'm going to send it over to her.
Oh my gosh, who I am and what I do. So I'm Tiffany Martinson. I'm so happy to be here. I am a new board member, as Marcia said, and it's such an interesting time to join the board since, you know, it all happened during COVID and a canceled conference, and it's such a crazy time. But it's incredible to be here, and I will say it's been absolutely amazing to see everybody adapt and get to know each other virtually and all that good stuff. And I think we're all still trying to find our footing, and me especially, of, you know, how I can best serve and help. And it's been pretty incredible. Did you want me to talk a little bit about what I'm doing now, Marcia? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So for me, I am on the marketing committee, and so I've been working with Sue, and I'm not Sue. I'm very sad to say. I know you guys were expecting Sue today, but you get me instead. And Ruka, to really work on some collaboration and really working to bringing a united message to our members. And so that's been really fun, like working on a content calendar and making sure that, you know, we're kind of pumping out information and resources that's going to benefit everyone. So I run a nanny agency in Seattle, and I've split my career time between being a nanny. I was a nanny for over a decade, and then I've been in the agency world for over a decade now. So I really feel like I wear both hats. I always wear both hats, and it's just, this is, my job is like the fourth love of my life behind my husband and my kids. So I love this industry. I love being here. I hope to serve you all well. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. So before we move on, does anybody have any questions about anything? And I apologize for not explaining that before. Sue Downey was going to be our board spotlight today, but wasn't able to make it at the last minute. And Tiffany jumped in and was like, I can do it. So that's great. Thanks, Tiffany, for being here and jumping in last minute like that. Does anybody have any questions for Tiffany about, you know, what she did? She talked about a content calendar, which is really, I can speak from the office side of things, exciting, and something that has been, you know, we've needed for a while to keep us connected on a similar topic for the month. Anything else you want to ask her about what, you know, like the process to join the board or anything like that? Please feel free to jump in there.
And I can jump in too and just kind of elaborate a little bit, because I think for me, the very first time I ever came to an INA conference, like, it blew my mind how these people were working together and how I was finally in a room full of all of my people, both nannies and agencies. It was incredible. And so it was my dream to join the board from the jump. I knew I couldn't jump in right away with where I was at in my life, but so, you know, it was beyond exciting when I got here, and then realized all the work that's gone into, you know, making this incredible organization work. And so when I was assigned my committee for marketing, I mean, the groundwork, there's been incredible groundwork already. And, you know, one thing that I noticed right away was that, you know, this organization is made up of a ton of volunteers that are, you know, I think, you know, everybody is trying to contribute as much as they can, and there's a lot of moving parts. And, you know, one of the things that me and everybody else really wanted to see was a lot more collective working together and teamwork. And so much of that is just based on communication. Like, everybody's already doing the work. I think we're just being a little bit more intentional about our messaging. Hopefully, that's the goal. And to take some pressure off of Marcia, who this whole organization would fall apart without.
I'm just going to unmute myself and say you're too sweet, because that's not true, because you guys all do so much.
It's true. It's true.
It's just keeping it all together, moving. It's all moving forward. So awesome. Thank you. Again, anybody who has a question, please feel free to jump in and ask. I know that it's been an interesting year for everybody, and to have these 5 new board members join the board when we can't like be together in person has been different. And it's made us get to know each other in different ways. I feel like, you know, it's just different. Everything is different. I see Helen has joined too, and she's also a board member. So hi, Helen, and thank you for being here with us as a board member. We are going to move on, unless you have questions for Tiffany. We're going to talk to Kelly. Oh, I think I see Kelly Gears.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, sorry, I missed kind of the beginning of what Tiffany was talking, but I heard content calendar. So I'm hoping, does that include like sharing of information that INA puts out? Is that what, okay. If you could add, or maybe it's already being planned, I've noticed that there hasn't been a sharing of the INA job board. And that I had an agency reach out to me to see if that was something INA still did. And I actually had forgotten about it because I hadn't seen it. So if that could somehow be worked into the regular circulation of that INA has that job board, check out the new jobs on the job board. I know that that's a big agency plus benefit. Mm-hmm. And it's, correct me, it's still for everyone to view. You do not have to be a member, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Okay. To view the job board, yes, you do not need to be a member. To post on it, you have to be.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I will check into that for sure. I know that we still actively use it and have people post on it all the time.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I've seen posting jobs. I just haven't seen anything on social media shared that you have the job board.
You're totally right, and that's a really good point.
Okay.
So I made note.
We'll definitely check that. Yeah.
Good. Thanks. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions for Tiffany on content that the INA shares? Something else that you want to see, maybe you want to see more of us do? Well, if you think of anything, please let us know. Until then, I'm going to introduce Kelly Korjensen. I totally screwed it up again, I'm sure, but she is from Switzerland, and she's here to talk to us about the organization that she helps to run, the Swiss Nanny Association. So Kelly, why don't you go ahead and tell us about that?
First of all, thank you for inviting me, because I really like to share the knowledge about building a community. I would like to join this. I would have joined this town hall anyway, but because it's really something I'm very passionate about. So I'm a member in INA since 2015, and in 2016 we kind of decided with other nannies that in Switzerland we also need something similar, a community, but the first idea was to have some kind of a picnic club. That's still a little bit of joke we have in between us, because our first goal was just to have, you know, some meetups and do activities with the children. But what happened that now 4 years later, we are having 131 members. Only 4 are Swiss. I'll come back to that later. And we have 33 different nationalities in our community, which even for Switzerland is very unique, because most of the time the association are not as diverse as we are. So even here, when we present the association to somebody, they're always kind of amazed, how is it possible to make it work with so many different nationalities, so many different cultural backgrounds, age difference, because the youngest member is 20 years old and the oldest member is 65. And we have monthly meetings. We have, now we have everything on Zoom. And yeah, so our community is growing literally every day, and we hope to reach the 200 member milestone soon. I don't know why I'm still nervous talking on the Zoom, but I am, sorry. I don't hear anybody anymore.
Oh, please don't be nervous. Sorry, Kelly. I had to step away. I realized I put my phone down.
I thought I was talking to myself because nobody was moving, or
nobody was doing. Yeah, I had my phone on the other side of the room, so I was like, oh, I have to put that down. I have to go get that because I heard it ding, and I thought maybe it was my kids. But no, please don't be nervous. It's just us. So
yeah. So what the goal is now of SNA is to create in Switzerland, you know, a union kind of nannies, because Switzerland is so central in Europe, because the wages are much higher in Switzerland than all the countries around. It of course attracts a lot of people, and for many people the first job is domestic worker, and where nannies fall under. So we have kind of a lot of people who come here, and they are happy with something like half the minimum wage. So we try to empower everybody and give guidance about this topic, and meanwhile building a big community of happy nannies.
Excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like how you got into the industry, Kelly? I'd love to hear those stories too.
Okay, so I'm originally from Belgium.
Okay.
And in 2007, I met my Swiss partner. And a little bit like a very common story here is I wanted to come to live in Switzerland, but you can only live here when you have a job secured. Now it changed a little bit, but at that time I could only live here when I had a job secured. And then I speak Dutch, and a Dutch family asked me, why don't you babysit? And I said, yeah, why don't I babysit? I can do this because I have my own daughter. I also didn't know that it's not called babysit, that it's really a career. So my first job, I was babysitting 40 hours a week. Then I've also learned here by myself, because I'm very proactive, to learn that it's actually a career, and that there are options to grow, to develop those things. And I've never went back to anything else, to do anything else than being a nanny. And I have now 20 nanny children, of which most of them I'm still in contact with. And I hope to do this for a long time, because I think children, you know, they keep you happy and young and those things.
For sure. Awesome.
I think for us here in Switzerland, it's a lot of the time the same story, because I always ask when I meet somebody new, I always ask as a joke, did you come for love or for the money? It's always one of those, because it's just like, and then, you know, some stay, some see it as a short stepping stone. But a lot of people here are like me, you know, they came without an educational background, and then we just kind of moved up and educated ourselves and followed classes, and here we are. So,
does anybody have any questions for Kelly? Go ahead and unmute yourself if you do. Oh, Tiffany has a question.
I have a question. I would love to know how you found your way to INA.
I was searching for something, a community that I could be a part of, also for the resources. So in the very beginning, you know, I wanted to see the resources. I've never came to any conference because it's too far for me. It would cost a lot of money. I was really looking forward for the London edition.
Yeah.
That was then cancelled. I have good contact with Helen, who's here, I think.
Yep, I think she's on, yep.
Yeah, I met a lot of you at the British conference, the Nannypalooza UK.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that, and then I just stick around.
So unless somebody else has a question, so what do you find, I mean, I know you because I know you connect with a lot of people from UK, from Canada, and from the US and other places. What do you find is most different about being a nanny or the nanny industry in Switzerland as opposed to other places that you've seen?
I think there's no regulations here. So we are domestic workers, so the domestic worker law applies. But there is no regulations, there is no education, there is nothing. I mean, I don't know. I know in the UK it's different. You have to be trained or you need some credentials. Here it's definitely not. We would really like to change that in the future. For the rest, I honestly think we're all facing the same problems everywhere in the whole world. Because if I see our survey results, your survey results, UK survey results, I truly believe we are all facing the same problems. The recognition of the job, I think, is the difference. But we're working hard here to get it recognized by the public, to that people see it as a job and a choice we make, not some something you do in your pastime or because you love children. No, this is a job. I need to pay my bills. I need to travel. I need to develop myself. So I would say the recognition and the way people look at the job is maybe different. But beside that, I think we're all facing the same problems and also the same joys. Because
it's children. Children always bring happiness, right? And I would say that from what you said, it sounds very similar to the US. I know that, we've made, I feel like, pretty big strides in the past couple of years of recognition, and but we still struggle with that. There's still that struggle. I don't know if I know Helen is on. I don't know, maybe she can speak more to the UK and what it is like there. But I would say...
Hi, sorry, I just got in from work.
No, thank you for joining us. I think it's a little different. I think it's a little different in the UK than it maybe is in Switzerland and the US.
I mean, basically for every nanny job at the moment coming up, there are at least 50 nannies going for that particular position. So, I mean, the work isn't around at the moment. And unfortunately, in the UK, we don't have to be regulated or that. I mean, anybody can go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow morning going, I want to be a nanny, and they can, because there is no law against it. So you don't need anything. You don't need a qualification in childcare. You just wake up and go, I'm going to be a nanny, which is why obviously the UK is now, we've launched our UK Nanny Matters campaign to campaign for nannies to be regulated, because we feel if we can set the precedents here, it may help Switzerland, it may help the US, it will help other countries if we can get it registered here. So but no, I mean, yeah, COVID's totally mucked everything up, and it's sad. I mean, so many nannies have lost their jobs here, but it's worldwide, because I think it's happened everywhere.
Yeah, speaking of that, that was another question that I was going to ask you, Kelly, how COVID has affected the industry there.
We see two things. We have undocumented workers who really suffer differently, because they are like no work, no pay, which is totally illegal here. So there are a lot of people like laid off and fired or not asked to come in for work. On the other hand, everybody with a teacher qualification or long experience can now is more sought after than before. So you have like a shift in what kind of nanny the families are looking for. That can be because of the homeschooling, that people realize like, okay, it's very important that we have somebody who actually can teach something. I also think with the COVID, for us personally, it was a good thing, because the spotlight was so on domestic workers, especially here in Geneva, because of people here are not open or speaking up or demonstrate. That's just not really the culture. So what happened with COVID is that they started to give food to the people. Another association, it started with 30 food bags a week. It ended up with a line of 4,000 people waiting for hours in a queue to get food. And nearly 80% of the people there were domestic workers. So the end of the area of everything is fine in Switzerland, we don't have a problem, is now definitely over. So for that, I don't want to say thank you, but finally there is something, a catalyzer who showed the problem. This gives that a lot of employers now want to legally hire. We got emails every day. I want to legally hire. I forgot, I didn't know. So this, but yeah, we also had have a project. We got a grant. We were giving out masks and gel. It's again, there's people waiting. We could have given out thousands of packages, but we had only like 300.
Wow.
But we try to be positive and to try to keep the spotlight, try to get as much in the press as possible, to really try to change. And we also, for the first time, so for example, me, I am declared, I am paying taxes, I am paying social security, like everybody else in Switzerland. And when it was the COVID, every employee of a company could stay home and be paid by the state. And in the first meeting, they said it doesn't count for domestic workers because it's too complicated. But it shouldn't be complicated because we pay, we get the benefit. That's why we are insured, right? So that's something we really have to keep on working further on. That if this happens again, that domestic workers are not excluded from, temporary. Yeah. So, yeah.
Lisa had the question. Are there many nanny agencies in Switzerland who help advocate for nannies?
So SNA has agency membership, and we really only want to have agencies who really communicate with us, who show that they want to build a better community, to legally employ. So we have now 4 agency members and 5 others that we are talking with. They want to join, but we have to see if they meet the criteria.
Okay. Lisa, did that answer your question? Any other questions? This is good. I like this. This is great. Oh, here she goes. Are there many nanny agencies in Switzerland who help advocate? Oh, she just said thank you. Sorry. I was reading the same question. Awesome. Well, there is, certainly time to come back to both Tiffany and Kelly if you want to, but I kind of wanted to move us on because it feels like we're kind of moving on to that discussion, and I would love everybody to just kind of open up your lines if you're willing to talk. We have a topic. Our goal is to have sort of a topic each town hall to just sort of chat about. No teaching or anything like that, no educational point of it, but just to discuss the topic. And this week, this month, we're going to talk about nanny community and building nanny community. And Kelly's such a great person to be on here because they did really build this community from nothing. And what did you say? You're close to 200 members, and and that's really great. So let's talk about that. Tiffany, did you want to kind of lead that discussion at all? Did you have anything to kind of?
Sorry, couldn't find my mute button.
Yeah, it's okay.
I think for me, this is a topic I'm super passionate about because I just believe that we as human beings need to stay connected to each other. And that's been one of the most difficult things to do when recommendations are that we stay home to stay safe. So, everything that I wanted to explore today was, how are you guys staying connected? I'm happy to share some of the things that we're seeing in our communities of people, how they're staying connected. And for sure, Kelly, I want to hear kind of how you've built your community and then how you have continued to grow it during COVID, because this is you have to pivot your group to stay connected. It takes much more intention to do that at this point. So I'd just love to hear, from everyone, starting with Kelly, and, how you're staying connected, what you feel like you're missing, if there's any blessings or, positive things that have come out of this for you. So talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, so we moved to Zoom and we had big plans. We had plans of doing education, but after all, the only thing we did was eating ice cream online or have funny hats day or silly things, because during COVID, we truly wanted to use this opportunity, but everybody was like kind of numb. And we had a group where we split it, the members group. So the people who don't want to be faced with COVID, they didn't join. And it fastly went to some kind of a fun thing. So yeah, I think we all needed to have the connection of just being friends and to get to know each other. And we keep on going with this because it really brings the members together. Then especially for the live-in nannies, it was really hard. So their Saturday funny chat with SNA members who also understood, who were in the same boat, was really like the highlight of the week for some who could never leave work. You're just 24/7 at work. So that's that. Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of plans, like probably everybody, but there was only need for kind of a entertainment, light to be together. Then when we started the mask distribution, we needed volunteers, so we put a call for volunteers. I think how the Association of Geneva showed up, because they all wanted to be together. So even, this was like, guys, you didn't sign up, but yeah, but I just wanted to see you. It was kind of a meeting, but it wasn't planned like this. It was also not allowed at that time with the measures here. But like everybody just felt the need to see each other. So we kind of have now more people coming, because in Switzerland we can meet again. So we can do our picnics, and we're very careful with it. We hope to start in September with the in-person meetings. Yeah, eating ice cream, have a laugh, funny hat day, quiz, drink your favorite beer, everything. It's not recorded, thank God. So that's what we did.
Can I make a question?
Yes.
Hi, Anna.
Hi, good evening. I am Anna Fellini. I am one of the ambassador team members in the INA. I would like to ask Kelly. So I am from Switzerland, Zurich. We have a little bit a different situation than in Geneva. We don't have so much sans-papier or like this kind of situation, or with the queues that we saw during the COVID confination. But as a member of the INA, and hello, Kelly, nice to see you here. We met this in the beginning of the year in the Nanny Congress here in Zurich. But I have a question as a member of the INA. What is SNA thinking to do together with the INA? And what is the SNA working in Switzerland to put other communities together?
I think with INA, we have a very good contact. We share the same values, the same goals. I think everybody on the board will agree with that. One thing that I really want to give as a tip to build a community is focus on your own community and build your own community and be open to everybody to join in your community. Be as open as possible, but focus on your own community, make that work. Don't, we know people can reach out to us. We're always open to talk, but I don't, how can I say, I would really love to work together, but if another group or another page or another association doesn't really has the same common goal that we do share with INA, I mean, it's difficult to make that. I mean, we're working, 20 hours a week. I'm working on SNA. I have so much to focus on our community that unfortunately, sometimes we have to say, well, great idea, but we cannot do this because we have to focus on our own community and our own members who joined SNA exactly for the reason what we have on our website and what our community stands for. And
I understand.
I wish there were 100 passionate people that we could really, really go into every opportunity we have. But that's not possible.
And together with the INA, and also if I could just ask one other question, and then I let the others ask you, because I think they will have many questions for you. How many members of the SNA are INA members?
I don't know that, because again, we're focusing on our community. So everybody in our community, as you know, as an example, is totally free to join whatever association. We share posts from INA. I invited everybody to this town hall today, but that's still a personal choice. I think also for members, it's sometimes, okay, I am now with something local, something that feels good for me. Why should I join? But that's a personal decision. I was a member of INA before I founded SNA. So I think it's, yeah, the more you work together, the more the groups will mix. But it's up to INA to reach to build their community, and we're focusing on ours.
I think they will be welcomed for sure. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. And with the INA, the plans.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that those connections start with things like this. Do you know what I mean? And us reaching out to your communities, because you're right, you guys need to focus on you, and we want to be able to know how to support you better and what things would support you. So I hope that you feel free to tell us those kind of things. If there's something, I know the ambassador program, and we are starting chapters, and all those things are things that are moving along, and we hope will connect, communities, especially communities that are far away from the United States, to the larger INA.
Marcia, if I am allowed, yes, I would like to request, we have the Swiss native community asking nannies to go to a demonstration that it's going to happen in the 26th of September regarding childcare. We are connected with the kindergartens and with the Spielgruppe, the play groups. And together for this nanny community, the native nanny community, we are educators and not housekeepers and not cleaning ladies. In spite we are in the domestic sector, everybody knows that, but we are trying to fight a little bit to be educators, because we are taking care of children, and we should not be the housekeepers who are taking care of the house only. So they are connected, and they created by the support of a syndicate, VPOD, it's called VPOD. Here they will do a demonstration to fight for all the childcare, because they think it's only for profit. It's only being used for profit, the kindergartens for private profit. And the nannies were called to support this, and they will go to also call for their own requests. Probably for Kelly, this is interesting, as she is a president of a nanny association in Switzerland, to know that there are nanny communities asking for help, for all the nannies' help. And this for us, foreigner, it is very important in Switzerland, because we just come, as Kelly mentioned very well, as she and also myself, we come, we get a contract, we don't have any experience, we have no any training, and we start to be nannies out a little bit out of the blue. And then we fall in love for this profession. We stay here after year, giving the face, and also Kelly giving her face, I know that. And so we are here in Switzerland in a position that we need to tell other nannies, and there are not many giving the face. We need to tell other nannies that we are fighting to have the rules, as Kelly mentioned very well, in the law, to change a little bit the law in benefit of the nannies here in Switzerland. They are paying a lot of attention to us. Thanks to Kelly, also to her association. Also, I think I'm making a little bit of a part of that, and also to this nanny community here from Switzerland, the native ones, the German ones, because as you know, in Zurich we speak German, in Geneva it's French. And there is this English community that it's the other countries from Europe, nannies coming to Switzerland and talk English. English that it's a foreign language also for us. All this we need, yes, to give the hands to all the nanny communities. So also, I think probably for Kelly, this is important to know that there are other nanny communities who are also in the same kind of feeling and wanting to build a better place for nannies in Switzerland, for the foreign ones and for the German also, for the native ones. Because this nanny thing, it's something very recent. Before it was everybody was doing what he wanted. Only now people are paying attention. What is this nanny thing? Nanny is a profession, and it's up to us to create this. And I think also in the States there, this is important. You have to put your feet on the ground and also to make your territory. What is nannies? Are we housekeepers? Are we nannies? What is this nanny? We are educators, I think.
Yeah.
Well, right. And that's absolutely what we're doing. And thank you for sharing all of that, for sure. And that's why we're here to talk about all of this and what we're doing as a community, you know. And I think it starts small, it starts local, right? Because I think each one of our communities is dealing with, I think we're all dealing with difficulties and challenging situations that have been really come online for us because of COVID. So my question too to the group and to you, Kelly, too, is, you know, what new challenges are you seeing that nannies are facing during COVID? Like you mentioned the live-ins, right? The live-ins are having a hard time because they're not getting that time away, that time to reconnect. But are you seeing any other trends in your group of new challenges that are just coming online because of COVID?
As we all, I think, can relate, is we love the children, but sometimes the parents can be a bit, our employers. And I think having the parents home the whole day is for a lot of nannies a challenge. And also for the parents, I guess, to actually see, like, look, how is the day going? I think for me personally, I love this job because of the independence. People trust their children to me, and I just like to, to go on with the flow and do. So I wasn't working, so I have nothing to for personally, but I know that was a challenge, to find in a family, mom, dad, kids home, nanny home, whole day. It's a difficult situation. Over time, some people are working so much more hours, and that's all nice for parents until the bill comes. Those kinds of challenges, I think, came with COVID.
And one of the things that I'm seeing from the agency side of things is, we predominantly, the vast majority of the nanny placements that we were doing are for kids under the age of 5, right? I mean, while we always have families that have growing families and that need support for many, many years, most of the time the placements that we're doing are with young families. And the landscape is completely changing, right? So now we have families that need nannies that are also providing education and curriculum support. And that is a whole different reason why this community is going to be so important, because we're not only supporting each other and eating ice cream, which you always need to eat ice cream with your friends. So yes, but also as a group, it's the only way that we're going to pivot to absolutely meet the needs of these families in a brand new landscape. So I'm curious too, what you guys are, I'm curious if there's anybody that's actively looking for a job on the line right now, because I'm curious to see the challenges that you're facing, and
or maybe know somebody that is,
or know somebody
close,
that is,
you're close to, that is actively.
Because I think we just need, we have a need for community more than ever.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my nannies are looking for jobs because they've been let go, or for other reasons because parents are now working from home, and they're all having to cut their rates because you know, we're all professional nannies. We've got our degrees, etc. We've got our DBSs, which is obviously our criminal background checks, which we pay for. We have our nanny insurance because we're lucky that it exists in the UK. But again, it's not expensive. It's something else we have to pay out for. Then we have a thing called Ofsted in the UK, which is a voluntary register, but it gives you that extra step up, but that's over £100 a year. And in this economic climate, nannies aren't being able to renew it. You know, I have friends who are, but they're finding that there are nannies out there that are, you know, undercutting them and going in for like £8-9 an hour, which, I mean, equivalent into US dollars would be about $13 to $14 an hour. And our minimum, we have minimum wage in the UK, which starts at around £8.75. So that's the minimum somebody should be getting an hour. And there are people getting less than that. But a lot of nannies are saying a job is a job and I'll just take it because they need to survive. We all have bills and things to pay if you're a live out nanny. And I think, you know, it's really hard.
Yeah, that's really difficult. But I also think we can control what we can control, right? And if our intention is to grow as a community and help each other to kind of meet these, to figure out how to meet the needs of our families going forward. That's always what we've been good at as nannies, right? Is anticipating the needs of families. And I think it's just been kicked up a notch as the landscape is changing. At least that's what I'm seeing, is that those nannies, I mean, you have the nannies that are panicking because they don't have jobs and they can't pay their bills. Like, that's incredibly difficult. And then you have the nannies that are like, what classes can I take? How can I learn about remote learning? Like, it's time to learn about Common Core math, which is, you know, something in the US. And so, yeah, this is where I just think.
I just would like to say something regarding Switzerland, and probably it's not going to happen just in Switzerland, but because Switzerland is considered, and it is a very rich country, and today we all can travel very easily. We just get a flight and we travel. Young girls are very adventurous, more than 20, 30 years ago. So if they decide tomorrow to wake up, as somebody already mentioned with the waking up and deciding to be a nanny, also they decide, I go to Switzerland tomorrow, I will try my luck. So also it is a very worrying at this point here in Switzerland, the situation of nannies, knowing that they are here for many years working and looking and need to live also here. It's one of the richest countries in the whole world. It's very expensive to live here. And so there will be a lot of competition. There is already a lot of competition, but also with this situation of the COVID, it will be a very bad situation in whole Europe, and I think all Europe will put their eyes here in Switzerland. And here in Switzerland now, the nanny job, and Kelly is the president, and probably she even knows me better than me, but at this point, a nanny is very well considered here in Switzerland. Thanks to the nannies communities who are putting the standard very, very high. To be a nanny here, it's even a potential job for somebody who was working in a kindergarten, who has diploma, who has a university degree. Yeah? So we will be in a very big, challenging period. And so this, I think, for the nanny associations, we will need to ask, what are you doing about this? What is INA doing about this? What is SNA thinking of doing about this? What times will we have to face, we nannies who are living here for many years in Switzerland, what challenges will we have to face, and we too can we count?
Okay, if I can answer this. So I think that, first of all, like Tiffany said, make yourself that you stand out. So keep on learning, keep trying. There are opportunities in this situation. I am very optimistic. Some people call me naive, but I see opportunities here. If you now can say, look, I did this class about home learning, I have experience with children in the same grade stuff, there are opportunities. So again, let's try to focus on improvement and not in, you know, putting ourselves back. We keep on fighting, we keep on growing. And the undocumented workers, for example, what I saw the last weeks is that so many are going after their rights. Like we met a lady who was 10 years working for a family. She just had enough. So COVID already made it like, this is the final drop for me. The reaction of some families towards their nanny was the final drop. So we also see incline of people actually going to court to claim what's rightfully theirs. So again, there I'm seeing an opportunity, and I really would like to focus on uplifting everybody, on empowering people, on you know, we have to play with the laws who are here. I really love to be considered educators. I'm not going to advocate for that at the moment, as long as the domestic workers law are not even respected. So I think, and that's an SNA standard, we need to kind of keep on promoting that when a girl from another European country where the standard of living is much less arrives here, before she arrives here, she needs to know in Switzerland, this is the minimum wage, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I'm not supposed to do. That's it. So we keep on kind of welcoming also the new people and don't see them as a threat coming here to take our job away. I have 10 years more experience in Switzerland, so I had 10 years to make a difference with other people. So keep on learning and keep on improving yourself and get as much knowledge as you want. You know, focus on yourself again, and you know, to not feel threatened by new people. Just teach the new people. Don't take a job under minimum wage. Don't even take a job if you have an education.
In Geneva, you have already a minimum wage, right?
In
Geneva, I think. Not in Switzerland. In Zurich, no.
And
in Zurich, there is.
I don't think we have to discuss this here, but quickly said, there is a federal minimum wage of 19.20 and Geneva's minimum wage is slightly higher at 19.50 in domestic workers. And that's why it's very important. I know that some nannies would not like this to be associated with housekeeper and to stay in domestic workers category. The domestic workers category is very well protected. It's the only sector with a minimum wage. So we should stay in there for now until everybody has at least the minimum wage. And then we can talk further to be in education or something. But I think Anna and I have to meet for coffee and talk this over.
I have actually a question that I wanted to throw out there to the whole group. And to anybody, I think that Kelly and Helen have definitely started groups. I think, Kendra, you have been a part of kind of starting groups, but in the conversation of nanny community, I know that a lot of people may live in a place that doesn't have that physical community. It's great now because we have Zoom and we have virtual stuff, and with COVID, that's become just like everybody's, you know, what everybody is doing. But I'm trying to think like, down the road when we, you know, when we're like you, Kelly, when we can actually get back together in groups, or maybe you're there now, what are some ways that you, like, what did you do when you first started? You know, when you had nothing, or like you had 3 people who wanted to like get together. How did you build that? Because that is a struggle that I see out there a lot. And I'd love to hear some insight from you guys.
Hi, I'm Kenda.
Hi, Kenda. How are you?
I'm here. I've been hiding. My kids were, at the beginning of this, my kids were on lunch break, and I'm making a lot of noise in the background. We're in the middle of school here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Out in San Francisco. I have to say, one of the things that I've done in the last 2 years was I ran a training day for specifically San Francisco. And like, I barely got 20 people last year, and I had over 50 this year when we did it online. And that just blew my mind. I like don't understand it. Like, we can't make the commitment to meet in person, but everybody wanted to show up online. And to me, we make better, I don't know, I feel like I make better connections with people when I meet you face to face. And like, I feel like I know like a lot of people who are on this call today because I've been at INA and I physically have met you. And now it's like, oh, okay, so now I can meet you online. It's a lot easier that we're not all traveling, and, you know, like I can show up in the middle of my workday. But so there's this benefit, but I don't know. I don't know. It's really hard in San Francisco to get a group of people to meet in face-to-face people pre-COVID. I haven't seen anything in the Facebook group for San Francisco about doing Zoom or something. I thought about it, but then my life kind of got busy, and I like have no energy to try and put another Zoom, you know, in my family life outside of work hours. So I'm kind of at a loss. I don't know how I did it. The feedback I got was that people want to do training day again on Zoom because they found that really fascinating, like helpful, and they were allowed, they could come. Where I'm like, but we need the in-person meeting where we meet people and you can make these small conversations on the side. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure, Marsha.
Well, and maybe the answer
I don't know is an okay answer too.
But I think maybe there's a melding of the two. I think there's something for everyone, and maybe that is where it starts.
Well, and I think that virtual helps people who are uncomfortable in those situations in meeting new people, and that's a huge part of it. Those introverts and the people that just really don't want to be seen but want to get the education. I think that that's helpful, but it is very hard for the extroverts and those people that need that physical, which we all need some of it. Do you know what I mean? We all need to have some kind of community physically. But, you know, a lot of people really prefer one or two people. And I think that the virtual has really brought that out. And I think you're right, Tiffany, to be able to find a combination of the two things is really, it's going to be something interesting, I think, that comes out of this whole COVID thing. I think it's going to be interesting to see where, you know, what we learn from it in that regards. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously we're like INA, we've had to cancel everything that was going ahead this year. We did Zoom calls on a Friday. It was cocktails. I mean, typical Brits, we drink. There's no shame in it, and we do it a lot. And it was a Friday, and it started off the first Friday, there were two of us, and that's just because we knew each other and we talked. And now there's like 20 or 30 of us that meet up on a Friday. Most of us have now had to stop doing it because most of us are back at work. And with our heavy work schedules and everybody's hours are getting later and later. I mean, you know, I walked in the door at home at gone 8 o'clock tonight. So yeah, my day gets longer, but we've had a lot more. And obviously we were meant to have a huge awards ceremony, which Joanna came last year to represent the SNA. And we were due to have it at BAFTA, which if nobody knows what BAFTA is, it's the equivalent of Oscar, but we actually have a physical building, and to not have that. So we went, okay, we're going to do it virtual. So virtual has just come in and saved my company basically, because although we're not charging for it, and, you know, we've lost a lot of money, and we were meant to have a huge, which INA were coming to, and to answer Anna how to answer you saying how is INA helping, INA actually agreed to come over to the UK this year to come to Childcare Expo, but because due to COVID it all got cancelled, and then it was postponed until November, and because it's been cancelled again, so again we're all meeting 2021, and it should be. But my close set of nanny friends within the UK nanny group, when they said we could meet up 6 people, I had 30 say, can we come? And we had to stagger because we were only allowed to do 6 people at a time. And when you've got nannies, and it's the living nannies that I think have really found it hard and tough, because they have been in that 24-hour situation. So that's just how, you know, my group from the UK's copes. But I mean, I joined the INA. I went to Nanny Palooza first. I found the INA through Nanny Palooza, and they inspired me to start a nanny community in the UK. And without Nanny Palooza, Sue Downey, or the INA, and giving me the Nanny of the Year, and then me speaking at the SNA training day as the Nanny of the Year, I wouldn't actually be where I am today without those founding steps. So being welcome as an outsider into the US, and I worked in America, and I never found Nanny Palooza, and I didn't find the INA when I worked in the States, and they were both there. But to have found that, and to be able to offer up and help other people find INA now, it's great. And you know, we're getting the members in, and to get the overseas members makes me really happy, being the only overseas member on the board. And if anybody else fancies coming on the board and being an overseas member, it's great. We love it.
I think when the connections we make online, you know, at some point we will take them to real life. We had the same as Helen. Once we could do something small, there were so many people coming. Even it was against the rules, we know we had to refuse people. So I think for the people who are in a later stage, who are still confined, just keep on going with the events online, and it creates a bond that you will take to in-person events. And in-person events now, it looks great because we're always sold out and we have to refuse people, but we had to beg friends to come to the first events 4 years ago. But just never give up. That's kind of my motto. You know, if you reach to one other nanny, you reach to one other nanny. You don't need 100, because you have to focus on the people who are there. And
I love that. That's a really great point. If you reach one nanny, you reach one nanny.
Yeah.
It's not about numbers, right? It's about the people that you touch.
Exactly. And then you will have it too. And maybe that one nanny who came to your meeting, you could talk for hours, is going to put something in your community which will attract something else. You know, and different personalities will attract different kind of people. And it's like that you build somebody diverse, something diverse. Not everybody in SNA is like me. You see, there are younger people, there are more quiet people, and all of them attract a different kind of member. So keep investing in the people you meet, even if they are different than you. Keep making connections, and from one connection a new spark will come, and like that you will merge with the community next village, or I don't know, and at the end we're all one community. And also I think participating in something like International Recognition Week, International Training Day, really makes the participants feel they are part of something big, you know. It was our first successful event was a training day, maybe because Helen came to speak. But.
So Lisa had said something on the chat, but actually Greta just joined, and Greta has started an amazing community. Greta, can I ask you the question? The question that I kind of asked was, what did you do when you started from nothing? Like, what were your sort of first steps, and how did you build from there? That's kind of the question we've been answering.
Yeah, I mean, so for context, we have a community in Cincinnati of nannies. That's how we started. I was working as a nanny, and I was missing community, being in a home with triplet boys. And when we started, I had gone to an INA conference, and I felt like I met the nanny world and was enthusiastic and excited. So I didn't know what to do, but I knew I was going to do something. And so I started actually with a blog because I didn't know how to get information. I just didn't know what to do with my voice, but I felt like I had this voice and just this information. And back then blogs were big, right? Blogs, not that blogs aren't big now, but they were bigger. They were the thing, it seemed like. And so I started with that and really just, I had a couple nanny friends and just started talking and really just asking, what could we do? Here's what I'm seeing is missing. Here's what I'm seeing could be. What do you think? And just started having those really organic conversations. I had a couple nanny friends. And I really just wanted to get the knowledge. I started looking into, at that time, I'd heard of AdCan. That was really the only, they called it a support group at the time. And that's, maybe you guys have already talked about this, but the Association of DC Area Nannies, and it was huge and had been around forever. I think they've been around 25 years or something. And so I looked to them at what they were doing. I tried to find what other cities were doing. And I also, said, we're a different city, definitely by size. And at that point, I didn't know really how many nannies were here. And so I thought it was small. I was wrong. But I really just started gathering information and having conversations. And then our first event was National Nanny Recognition Week at dinner back in 2009. And every nanny I knew, I said, do you know nannies? And we just kind of randomly invited people. I had no idea who was going to show up. It was it could be no one. Literally, I didn't know. I had people RSVP, but I was I don't know who you are. So 12 people came, and literally I did not have one personal relationship with any the nannies I knew couldn't come or didn't come. And so I didn't have one personal relationship with any of them. I had them write a little card about themselves, and I gave them a rose and just honored them, but I didn't know them. So I think it's doing something. And then being at that event, I gave them a flyer and said, what would you like this community to be? Let's start it. What do you want to do? And I just did that. I can't remember what it was at that point, probably a play date here or there. But really I continued to listen and move what my city wanted. I didn't necessarily look to what everybody else was doing, but really listen to what we needed here. And so that over the years has grown to offer training. Our private Facebook group, which is professional, it's engaging, it's active, it doesn't have jobs in it. It's, we make people answer questions before they get in. It is a really positive place. And that has been what our city needs. It's a big part of who we are, is this Facebook group. And I'll tell you what, with COVID, it is even more of a need, and we're meeting a need there for nannies that I still have never even met. But I'm talking a lot, but hopefully I'm saying my point is that every city's different. And I think listening and just having conversations, trying something when it doesn't work, trying something else, because success, like I heard one person say, Kelly, you say, if you've reached one, you've reached them. It's really about relationship. I got a Facebook message yesterday from a nanny who I've never met, but ended up meeting a family through a connection of mine. I've never met her in person. And she just told me how her life has changed by meeting that family, and that she's been needing to write me a message for years. And so the truth is nannies need community, and they need connection, and they need to know their value and their appreciation. And it's hard to find that always from employers or agencies even. And so that one-on-one relationship, or that small group relationship, or the big group that allows for those small groups and one-on-one relationship is what is needed, I believe. So sorry, I went off on a.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was perfect for me. I mean, that's exactly right. And it's really in line with a lot of what Kelly said too. You build it for what you have, you serve the people that you have, because that's who you need to serve. So Tiffany, we're going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Lisa commented.
Oh, yeah.
And she just said, great conversation. There are ample opportunities for all of us in the nanny world to learn from one another during this pandemic. Going forward, I would love to hear more of the ideas we've come up with or put in place to successfully pivot. And then she apologizes. She's in a private area right now, so she can't show her face. But this, I think, would also be a super good question for you, Greta, because you know, I mean, you mentioned seeing some changes and how having this community is so important during COVID. I'm super curious as to how you guys have pivoted as a group.
So we have in Cincinnati something that we've created over the years, a thing called Nanny Panel, which is essentially some nannies who volunteer to essentially be leaders for the year. And they help usually plan events and trainings, which we haven't really done this year. I mean, we've done some virtual events, but so they have been really, instead of planning their events, they have been super active in this Facebook group and like really intentional about, as a new person comes in and you see them post, like engaging them and really like almost like strategic about it, which sounds strange, but like knowing how much we need connection right now, they've been just like on it, like little eagles, like in this group. And it's been really fun to see because I've seen, even over the last 3 months, I've seen just engagement go up. Like there are more posts per day. And so there is just tangible proof that we are making connections even in this digital world. We're getting ready to do National Nanny Recognition Week, our first ever virtual night, which is a little bummer for me because it was our first event and this will be our 11th year, but we're doing what we call an online adventure where we're gonna have people get into Zoom. They don't know this yet, so don't tell them online, but we're gonna create boxes for everybody so everybody will have the same thing to open for their event. Huh?
I can, this is recorded. I can take that part out.
Okay, well, it's okay. You don't have to. I mean, they'll find out in a week or two anyway. It's fine. It's not a big deal, but likelihood of them finding out before anyway. But it's challenged our volunteers to say, what do we need as nannies and how do we give that to this group and how do we make a big Zoom event feel small? So like they're researching how to like get into a big Zoom and then break out into rooms to have those connections. So it's not 30 or 50 people just staring at each other, but actually sitting at a table like you would at an event. So I think it's challenging creativity and you know, these are all working nannies. And so I'm not working as a nanny anymore. So it's really good for me as a lead and an agency owner to let nannies who are walking in this kind of back lead me into what the needs are.
I like your group. I love the brand, how it's done, the structure. I think for what I see on Facebook, I always put a thumbs up.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Can I? So I don't have anything of that. I don't have any groups. I just have a Facebook group, a small one, very small one. And I think probably one of the special things about this group is I start very lots of discussions. I start lots of thinking, what is wrong, what we can improve, what we need as nannies here, and a lot of these constructive conversations. And we find out that at this moment we would need a training in Switzerland in English. And we are pressing a little bit the training companies, let's say, like the Swiss Red Cross. I think it's the only one in Zurich that gives training for nannies, but all in German, except babysitting for adults that I took this course. And we are pressing a little bit for them to start to do some English speaking training for nannies, specific for nannies. Yeah, and also a lot of people start to know in this group and know what's going on in all Switzerland, and also in in the INA. Also, I share a lot of information what's going on that I think it's important for us in Switzerland, and what's a little bit what is going on in the world. And that's it. I don't create communities. I am part of a few communities. I am part of the INA. So I am a member of the INA since 2017. And I've been here since then. And I like it. I like it here. And in what I can, I will improve. I speak my opinions. I am independent. I'm not associated with any agency. I'm not associated with any business, let's say. I want to be completely free. The only thing I am associated is with INA and the US Nanny Association. And that's it, because I really like to know what is going on in the world, to compare, because sometimes we need a little bit of the term of comparing what is going on outside that we could use also in our country, or to press the childcare industry here to improve. And so one of the things I think the Swiss could teach had a kind of a system that it could be implemented in the rest of the world is, instead of in partnering with businesses, that sometimes it's not so important, it's to partner with kindergartens and with the syndicates, for instance, to make our profession more educational.
Yeah, interesting. I know that we have a lot of
Do you have
people.
syndicates, Marcia, there?
Not exact. You'd have to explain that a little bit more. I know that we have
labor union.
Unions.
Not for nannies. No. I know that we have a lot of people in the industry in the United States that are part of NACY, the National Association of the Education of Young Children. Is that what that is? Yeah. And so that's definitely something that we've worked with before. But so we're starting to get to the end of everything. I want to make sure that there's no other questions out there for Tiffany or for Kelly that have come up, or questions just in general about the INA. If you have any questions about our events that are coming up, for those of you that are on here, before we kind of close up and that. Anything else? I'm really grateful that everybody was on. And Greta, I know that
is INA going to do online nanny recognition day?
We have a couple events on that week, so that the Saturday before, so I think that's the September 19th, we have it, because it's a week, so it's a week long. It starts on a Sunday and it ends on a Saturday. The Saturday before, we will be having our let me look at my calendar real quick. The Saturday before, we're having our service award pin announcement video. So everybody who applied for the service award pins will be sort of introduced much the same way we did it in the spring. We'll be doing the same kind of thing. And then that following week, we'll be introducing our ambassadors. That week, we have, we'll have actually a town hall together. That is our next town hall on Sunday, the 20th of September. So we'll probably have a theme around that. We haven't announced what our theme for the town hall will be, but it'll probably be around that. And then we have the mentorship Monday that week. So it's a busy week for us, but it's sort of a week-long celebration. So we'll be introducing some things, and I know that the diversity committee has some things that they're working on for that week as well, and so there should be a lot of exciting things happening. But we don't have one specific event for that, but a lot going on that week around the theme of recognition. So, any other questions? So just to kind of share, again, I just said our next Zoom town hall is going to be Sunday the 20th. Hope you guys can join us. I know I don't remember the time off the top of my head. It'll be out there, but this coming Saturday, August, what is this? Where am I? I'm in, sorry, September, August 29th, thank you. 29th, we have our diversity webinar series continuing on the importance of selecting cultural responsive literature for children. And then the September 9th, we have another webinar on consent in the classroom. That's a professional webinar. So that's for members, or INA members get that free, but we've actually introduced a new way that non-members can be a part of our professional webinar series as well. So it's $25 and you can find it right on our website and our e-store at nanny.org/shop. That'll be available. And then the following Saturday is another professional webinar series on working with special needs. So we've got a lot going on in September. If you have any questions or that you didn't feel comfortable asking here in this public forum that's going to be on YouTube, you can always email us at memberservices@nanny.org. You can look on our website at nanny.org for any questions. You know, go ahead and feel free to search around. But I am really grateful for everybody that was able to be on today. Tiffany Martinson, thank you for being our spotlight, our board spotlight, and sharing your experience, not only personally in the industry, but you know, your experience so far on the board. And Kelly, thank you so much for being here from the Swiss Nanny Association. It was really great to hear and understand a little bit more. And I'm really grateful for everybody else that came on too and shared their thoughts and questions. It was a great, I feel like it was a great time. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
It was
Bye,
good to see
guys.
everyone.
Good to see your faces.